Backchat TV. Subscribe.
He has also talked about it. That left hook is so good, and it's so long and so precise and so hard, but
What's going on, people? It's Backchat TV. Welcome to the channel. We're going to get straight into this topic of heavyweights. Anthony Joshua and Dillian Whyte has been confirmed, by all accounts anyway, for August the 12th. And yeah, I'm quite happy about that fight. It's good to see a decent heavyweight fight, see a decent grudge match as well. You know, they've got a lot of history. You could say this is a trilogy fight if you count their first amateur fight, which Anthony Joshua lost, and obviously we know that he got him back in the rematch by knockout. What's going to happen in the third fight? I'll tell you a reason why I'm actually quite interested in this fight, and I didn't think I would be, is because both of them have been underwhelming. It's not like, you know, one fighter has been untouchable and the other fighter has not been, has been subpar. They've both had some subpar performances. We've got Anthony Joshua, since the loss to Andy Ruiz, he hasn't been the same. That's what they say. He's been gun shy. He hasn't gone for the knockout, even from before then. But in a few fights, even against Parker, obviously, since his loss against the two losses he had back-to-back against Alexander Usyk. But he's come back with a win against Franklin, but the win against Franklin didn't redeem him either, because people said he still looked gun-shy, and now people have lost a lot of faith in him. So for him to be fighting Dillian Whyte, who you could say the same thing, terrible, embarrassing, you could say, loss to Tyson Fury, and then a subpar workman-like performance against Jermaine Franklin. So they're both kind of, I don't want to say on a slippery slide, but let's just say there's some rather large question marks over both fighters. And I would say that this view is echoed with the general public in general, because most of the general public are kind of 50-50 between Joshua and Whyte, probably edging Joshua for the most part, but because they've both had subpar performances, a lot of people think that Whyte can win it. A lot of people obviously still riding with Joshua, but just about. Personally, I'm going to take a bit more of a strong stance on this fight. I feel like Anthony Joshua might just obliterate Dillian Whyte, and the reason why I say that is because he's been working with Derek James. Now, when he fought Franklin, a lot of people were kind of put off by that fight. They didn't think that he was very good, and a lot of people wrote him off. But personally, I saw the fight a little bit differently when he fought Franklin. I felt like it was obvious that he was working on a lot of things that he'd been taught in the weeks in the training camp leading up to the fight. Obviously, it takes a long time to actually get it in your head as muscle memory. It's easy to be taught it and to be doing it in the gym, but then to execute what a completely new camp, new trainer has taught you in the ring takes some time, and it takes a few fights. And that's what I saw against Franklin. I didn't write him off. He could have knocked him out. He didn't. Maybe he's gun shy now. Yes, there's a little bit of that, but I feel like he was working on a lot of things in that fight. If you watch him, he was like working on turning and changing angles, pivoting, changing angles, and he was also working the jab as well, and he was concentrating quite a lot on his technique. He wasn't really looking for that knockout kind of blow. Although he wanted to get a good knockout, he didn't perfect the technique that Derek James was showing him, which Derek James has showed, Errol Spence. You could see that this is what Joshua was working on in the fight. So I wasn't put off by the fact that, the performance wasn't great. Now he's had time to really get this technique, his punching technique, his right hand, his jab. I think he's really had time to work on this with Derrick James, and I think Derrick James is one of the best when it comes to the jab, everything coming off the jab, turning the angles, everything coming off the jab, the right hand coming off the jab. Derrick James, I think, is the best at that. If you just watch his fighters in his stable, that's how he kind of teaches them. And I haven't seen much progression, if any, in Dillian Whyte. So I think Joshua now has got that in his arsenal, and I think he's going to be explosive against Dillian Whyte. He's looking good already in camp. I've seen him working hard, sparring with Errol Spence and Charlo and all these guys. And he's looking lean, fast, strong, powerful. He's looking motivated. I saw a video of him punching a mattress. I don't know what that was about, but he just looks re-motivated. And I think Derrick James has done that, whereas I haven't seen much of Dillian Whyte. And what I have seen of him, he doesn't look like he's been training anything near the kind of intensity that Anthony Joshua has been training with. I mean, I really do feel like this is Anthony Joshua's comeback fight. Dillian Whyte, I don't think he's going to be able to. I think there's going to be a lot of things that is different about Anthony Joshua that Dillian Whyte is not going to be able to handle. The first main thing being the stamina. Anthony Joshua, I think, has been forced to get better with his stamina. Training with Errol Spence and Charlo, training in the heat. He said that the Texan heat out there is just like drains your energy, and it's made him fitter. He feels fitter than he's ever been because of the level of intensity that Derrick James is pushing him to. And in comparison, what's Dillian Whyte been doing? Last time I saw him, he was talking about he's put on a lot of weight and he needs to drop weight. So that doesn't sound like a disciplined fighter. And I think he's going to come up against a very motivated Anthony Joshua. So for me, Anthony Joshua takes this. I think he knocks him out, to be honest. I think he knocks him out, and then he's going to reignite some excitement around his career that's died recently. And that's exactly what he's going to need to match the excitement between the fight that they've made with him and Deontay Wilder in December. It's going to be perfect. Famous last words, Whyte might knock him out with a left hook and completely ruin the Deontay Wilder plans. But if everything goes to plan, and I think it's likely to, Joshua comes out of this fight, and I think with a knockout win. Whyte is a tough guy, but he does leave himself open. I think Joshua will come out looking good in this fight, and then the fight with Deontay Wilder will be a massive fight, and everyone will want to see that fight. And if he gets through Deontay Wilder, then Dubois is actually fighting Alexander Usyk. That fight has been made for, I believe, the 24th or the 29th or something like that of August. So we may end up seeing Anthony Joshua trying to get that rematch if Alexander wins that fight with Dubois, which is not guaranteed. I know a lot of people laugh about that and say, of course, Alexander Usyk is going to beat Daniel Dubois. But you can't say for definite, because anyone who can punch, who's a powerful puncher, has a chance. Daniel Dubois has a chance against Alexander Usyk. He's got a big punch. He's a big, strong guy. Yes, it's very unlikely. He doesn't have the skills that's needed to fight someone like him. But sometimes when someone lacks a lot in skills, they're not gun shy. They're not scared to throw shots. And sometimes, out of 10 shots, power shots, you only need one. Someone like Anthony Joshua with a lot of experience, he knows that he can't put himself out there, so he never really went for anything in his fight against Usyk. But Daniel Dubois might be different, so still going to be an exciting fight. I would obviously expect Alexander Usyk to win that fight, but it's still going to be exciting, and I'm very excited for Daniel Dubois to get his shot against Usyk. Tyson Fury, I don't want to speak about him. I don't know. He doesn't know what side of the bed he's getting out. Never mind who he's going to fight next. So, I just don't want to talk about him until something is finalized with him. But at least these fighters are stepping up and actually fighting, unlike Tyson Fury. I think it's going to be a good fight. Let me know what you think. Do you think Dillian Whyte stands a chance? Because that's how I see it. I'm not sure he stands a chance against this version of Anthony Joshua, to be honest. Let me know what you think about the fight. Are you excited to see a good heavyweight fight? If you enjoyed this video, on to the next please leave a comment. Feel free to like this video and subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be doing a lot more of a similar nature.